As director of the George Washington University School of Media and Public Affairs, I'm very lucky to work with aspiring young journalists and see the changes in the media from the ground up. So we thought this was an A-plus moment for them to weigh in on news coverage and more. You want to be journalists. You're in Washington. You're in Washington at a time when the government is shut down. It's the biggest story we've had in a long, long time. Where are you getting your news from, Leo?
Twitter. I mean, following reporters or the actual media outlet.
Before I get out of bed every morning, I'm always on Twitter. So Twitter, Facebook, I follow CNN, I follow New York Times, I follow Washington Post, basically everyone.
I turn to Washington Post a lot, and also I watched the rundown on CBS this morning on their website.
I first go to Twitter, and then when I always go to the gym in the morning, and I'm always watching Morning Joe, the Daily Rundown.
For my news, it's almost exclusively online. I'm looking at Twitter, I'm watching podcasts, and most of those are NBC, CNN, AP.
Once the alarm hits, take the smartphone and check Twitter, still in bed, obviously.
I'm actually kind of old school. I wake up to NPR.
When I wake up, I usually just check my Facebook, check my email when I'm still in bed, and that usually leads me to places like BuzzFeed, and then from there, Facebook also brings me to like Washington Post, CNN.
Links from Twitter usually go to Bloomberg or the Post or the Times, and then I'll also read morning newsletters like from Slate.
How many of you get your news from the Jon Stewarts and the Jimmy Kimmels and the Stephen Colberts of the world?
This week.
You're watching nonstop.
Jon Stewart's been on fire.
I wouldn't say that I get my news exclusively from Jon Stewart or exclusively from Colbert, but I mean, it's funny and it's, easy to watch while you're doing other things.
I don't think most people go there to comedy as their main source of news. I think it's mostly people who have read and have an understanding and know what's going on, and then that's just supplemental to everything else.
What's the first and foremost responsibility of the news media? If the first responsibility of the government is to govern, and they're not, what's the response?
As a watchdog.
Okay, that's easy to say. What does that mean?
It's to hold the people who are responsible accountable for what they have failed to do.
It's not the media's job to play the blame game too, though. The most that they can do is just provide the facts and let the people decide what they think is accurate.
I think the role of the media is to inform everyone. And then if it involves holding people accountable, if that's how you get the information to inform everyone, then that's how you do it. But it's presenting them the facts and letting them make the decision.
Who decides? Who's credible? Who's not? How do you cover these people?
We shouldn't be giving senators and congressmen who are saying falsehood a line on the news. So like there are senators and congressmen who said, the Affordable Care Act is unconstitutional. Well, it is. The Supreme Court ruled that it's constitutional and that it's fine. So like you can't just like say these things because that's how you feel. If someone's going to blatantly say something that's incorrect on the news as an elected official, they should lose their access to the media.
You shouldn't interview them again?
No.
Even if they're the ones who are orchestrating this whole thing?
I wouldn't let them proselytize. Like I wouldn't use C-SPAN coverage of them just talking and be like, and from the opposition, this is what this is their valid point, because it's not.
So would you not cover Ted Cruz?
No.
I think it's a reality.
How could you not cover Ted Cruz?
Yeah.
I think that when you have someone who's going to stand up there for 21 hours and just continue to ramble and then eventually goes on Star Wars, you've made your point.
Is it just because you disagree with him? As far as he's concerned, he's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
No, it's the same thing if it was a liberal.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that, actually. I think you have to call those people out. You have to do it in a civilized way where you question them. You ask them about their motives. You ask them why they're doing that. That way, the public can really decide for themselves, are they really looking out in our best interests, or are they just doing their own thing for political gains?
Media has the ultimate agenda-setting power. So I feel like not pointing fingers at people, but perhaps putting them in the spotlight and making them responsible and for them to give explanations. And just putting them under spotlight could be a solution.
What should the agenda-setting priority be in this one? What should the media's agenda be?
Why the government failed to govern?
If you're at your local paper, you have to localize it. So you have to talk to the people in your community about how it's affecting them.
We talked a little bit about how like the media hasn't really been able to localize this information to make it relatable to people, but I feel as though social media in a sense has been able to fill that void by allowing people who are affected by this, whether it be the pandecam or something more serious, to vocalize their concerns and really say how it is affecting them personally. And then this, when people talk about it and it gets retweeted or shared, then that's when we really get to hear it directly from the people who are affected.
And there you have it, a future of news and a shred of hope.
Order the latest blockbuster from Brent Bozell and Tim Graham, Collusion, How the Media Stole the 2012 Election and How to Stop Them from Doing It in 2016. Available in hardcover. A must-read for every true conservative. Order your copy now at MediaCollusion.com.